The Obama administration has begun now the process of preparing criminal charges against Edward Snowden. He's the 29-year-old government contractor who leaked U.S. surveillance secrets. We're joined by legal expert Doug Uloff. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, what charges are we likely to see here?
I would expect that the charges will likely be based under the Espionage Act for leaking national secrets. So there may be other charges as well, but those are the ones that I would most likely expect to see under these circumstances.
He was last seen in Hong Kong. He checked out of his hotel. We don't know if he's still there, but if he were still there, it seems like authorities in Hong Kong are saying they would probably extradite him, but does China has a veto on this somehow? Do you know how that works?
Well, apparently there's a treaty that's in effect with China that would require them, on request, to extradite anyone who's charged with crimes in the United States. I understand that there's a little bit of limbo right now with respect to that, the procedures that would work. I recently read that the Chinese are reviewing their procedures for oversight of Hong Kong and probably other areas in China as to how they would respond to such requests. So actually one other legal expert I had seen comment said that although he initially probably was not wise in choosing Hong Kong as a place of refuge, the fact that there's a little bit of uncertainty about their extradition law right now might make it better than we originally thought.
Now, is there a difference between him being a contractor or him actually being an employee of the government?
There would perhaps be a difference if he were still in the military, because he would still be subject to aspects of the military code, which would allow very different treatment, I think, than might be the case as a civilian. The difference between a civilian employee and a civilian contractor, as far as what charges are to be brought, is probably not a significant difference. I think he could be charged the same way likely under both provisions. There might be other collateral civil agreements that he would have signed as a government employee as opposed to a civilian contractor, but the criminal charges are probably the same.
Now, this guy said that he had the authority to wiretap anyone at any time, essentially. Would it be more accurate to say that he maybe had the ability, but he certainly didn't have the authority?
That's likely correct. The controversy arises under the provisions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which is FISA for short, and there are provisions in the FISA Act that require the government to go to one of 11 judges who are designated to be on the FISA court to ask permission to impose on or seek to surveil particular people. And so therefore individuals within the government don't have the authority to go undertake to do that except as part of the FISA authorized program.
Well, what are we talking about in terms of penalties here? If he's convicted of these crimes, how long would he face?
Under the Espionage Act, I think he could face a pretty long time in prison. My recollection is it's 25 years and possibly even longer.
Legal expert Doug Uloff. Doug, thank you so much.
Certainly, thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate the time. It is 7:08. Yeah, you know, we were looking. We had a pretty extensive discussion on our Facebook page yesterday, and overwhelmingly the sentiment was that this guy did the right thing.
That he was a patriot.
That he was a patriot. Yeah, I thought that. I guess that's. You know, it's always a tough issue. I guess I'm probably leaning toward that direction. I guess the one thing that keeps sticking in my craw is, does everybody who's involved in any way with our intelligence community have a say on whether to blow the lid off something, from the highest muckety-muck to the part-time contractor?
Right. So
and then how do you get anything done if there's got to be one person in that whole group that can blow the lid on stuff? Is that something we want, you know? Right.
No, I mean, would it be different if it was a high-ranking general who came out and said, you know what, I feel the need to put this out there, or if it was some 29-year-old contractor? I mean, there is a difference in how they're perceived, but what the crime would be the same.
Exactly. Chuck and Kelly, 810 1031 WGY.